Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. In this video I will be showing you how to make a princess dart of the shoulder padded blouse. If you're interested, please keep on watching. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by and please consider subscribing. So here I have my fabric on fold using the bust measurement I'm working with divided by 4 plus extra 5 inches for allowance. Then I have the shoulder to the half length plus 1 inch of allowance like this. So first off, I'm going to mark 4 inches from the top. We're going to be taking that off the blouse. So I'm marking 4 inches across. And I'm connecting that into a straight line. We're going to leave it here for now, but it's going to go off at the end of the day. So next off, I'm marking the shoulder measurement I'm working with divided by 2 minus 1.5 inches. Shoulder divided by 2 minus 1.5 inches. Then I'm marking the armhole from that 4 inches. I'm marking armhole of 4 inches. So from the center front, I'm going to mark quarter of the bust measurement I'm working with like so, and then curve the armhole from there. So next up, from the very top, I'm going to mark the shoulder to nipple and the shoulder to the under bust like so. I will mark these two measurements all across and connect into a straight line. So next I'm marking the nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half inch allowance. I'm going to mark it all the way down and connect into a straight line as well. So next on the under bust, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches from that nipple to nipple line and then connect down to the half length line. Then I'll curve it out like so. Then on the armhole line, I'm going to mark the middle and then connect to the nipple line like that. Then I'll mark 1 inch on both sides on that armhole part and connect both lines to the nipple point. So on the down leg from that armhole curve, I'm going to extend it by 2 inches and make a new curve for the armhole. And next we cut. Starting from this 4 inches mark, I'm going to be cutting that out. It's of no use. So that is it for the front. I'm going to cut lining pieces exactly the same way for all of them. So for the back, I did the same thing. The folding is, I folded using the bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 5 inches, and then the shoulder to the half length plus 1 inch of allowance. And I'm also taking off the 4 inches I took off from the front on the back piece as well. Next up, I'm marking the zip allowance 1.5 inches all the way down. So from the zip allowance line, I'm going to mark the shoulder divided by 2 minus 1.5. I mark the same thing down, shoulder divided by 2 minus 1.5. Then I'll mark the armhole of 4 inches from that 4 inches line we drew. Then I marked quarter of the bust measurement from the zip line and I curved the armhole. On this down part, I'm coming in by ½ inch, and then from the zip line, I went in by another ½ inch. Then from the shoulder, I measured 9 inches down, and I'm going to slant out the line to that 9 inches point. Both of them. So from the initial zip line, I'm going to mark the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is where our dart is going to sit at the end of the day. And next we cut. I'm going to open up the zip line and then cut off this slant like so. And that is it for the back piece. So I went ahead to cut lining pieces for all of them, both front and back, and then I ironed the breast pad on the front piece. I have a video on how to pad a princess dart. It's pretty much the same process. You can check it out. I'll also link it down below in the description. I have a lace piece here, cut the same shape as the center piece, which I'm going to use as one. Then I'll go and join the center pieces, the front pieces together, starting from the bottom part. And I will repeat the same thing for the lining. Join the pieces starting from down all the way up. Then on the back, I'm going to sew the darts in place. I'm going to mark the dart. So remember we took out 4 inches. So I'm going to place my 4 inches at the beginning and mark 9 inches. Then I will mark the nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus ½ inch from the zip line, and I'll connect it to the notch we made. So I turn it to this other side and repeat the same thing. I'm marking the zip line first. Then I'm going to place 4 inches at the beginning like so and mark 9 inches. Then I'll mark the dart, which is the nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus ½ inch, and I'll connect to the notch. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the lining pieces. I'm placing the main fabric on top of the lining so I can transfer the notch. So we'll go sew the dart in place like that, and then join the zip line. So I've gone ahead to sew the darts in place on both lining and main fabric, and I've also ironed them flat. The same for the front pieces. I've sewn the lining and I also top stitched, and then the main fabric I sewed and I ironed open. So here's the back piece folded into 2. I'm going to be placing the measurements now. So starting from the zip line, I'm going to mark quarter of the bust measurement up here, and then on this down part I'll mark quarter of the waist measurement. That's the half length round. I'm going to connect like so, then turn to this side and mark the same thing from the zip line, quarter of the bust measurement, and down here from the zip line as well, quarter of the waist measurement. I'm going to connect that. Then I will open it up and then check again to be sure I have half of the waist measurement down here and then half of the bust measurement up here. If all is correct, I will go on and pin the front on top of the back right sides together. So I place them together, making sure they match on the upper part, making sure the bust part is standing firm and not squished down. After which I'll pin the sides. I also make sure that the center front is sitting exactly on the center back. You'll notice that the back piece is now longer than the front piece, which is perfectly fine. It's going to still come out right. Just don't force it to be equal on the down part. Let it relax the way it is. So I'll go and sew on those lines, and I will do the same thing for the lining. So after sewing, this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off the back piece that is hanging, that is not equal. I'm going to trim it off. Then I will reduce the seam allowances to about 2 inches. Next, I'll trim the armhole to make it equal, both front and back. So after sewing the princess dart on the front, the armhole is no longer the same with the back. And everything we do here, we'll do the same for the lining piece. So I'm going to take it out now and then iron the sides where we just sewed. So this is what we have. It's looking clean, Abby. I love it. So here's the lining piece. I'm going to be repeating the same thing, trimming all the trimmables. So next, I opened it up on the back. I opened the zip line up on both the main fabric and on the lining. I'm going to now place them right sides together, where we'll go and sew on the zip line, on the back neckline, the front neckline, and then on this other side to the zip line and all of that. So after sewing, I turned it to the wrong side and I ironed it, and this is what we have. And that is it. That is how to sew an off-the-shoulder princess dart bustier. In my next video, I will show you how to cut the sleeve. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Please like this video, share, and leave a comment. Bye.